Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the corner and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Look who we have on the screen, Kendry Paez. Kendry Paez, ladies and gentlemen, he's already at Strasbourg and he's training. There's so much that's happening on a daily basis. I don't know when I missed this news, and I know Kendry Paez was destined to go to Strasbourg on loan, but I don't recall when this news happened where the here we go for Paez to Strasbourg on loan. It was all done and dusted. I'm not really sure whether I actually saw that. It must have been lost in between so many other news that's happening on a daily basis. And we're a stock exchange. We are wheeling and dealing. We are buying, selling, getting options, derivatives, buy low, sell high, and bearish, bullish market. It's crazy. It's crazy to be, on top of everything. But luckily enough, over the past 24 hours, I bumped onto some pictures on social media, especially on X, and I see our kid, is already in his first training session at Strasbourg. So it's fantastic to see that. I think. Look, this loan move, the way it's done wonders for Andre Santos last season, I have full faith and full belief that it's going to have the same impact on Kendry Paez as well. Kendry Paez, look, he started off like a bang, much like Estevan Willian, started off like a bang, and there was a lot of hype. The goals he was scoring for Independiente, I think that's how you pronounce it. Pronounce the name, Independiente. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. I must have absolutely butchered that. But anyway, he was playing really well, scored some really good goals, provided some really nice assists as well. You could see the technical ability was just so high. And then he got the breakthrough, one of the youngest players, if not the youngest players for Ecuador to break through in the national team as a 16-year-old, I believe, and doing well in that front too. So look, Kendry Paez was absolutely killing it. He was absolutely killing it. But over the last probably 6 to 12 months, things started to die down a little bit. Paez wasn't starting from the get-go for the national team, and the goals have dried out. I know when the goals have dried out because you don't see anything on social media about it. So that's when you know the goals have disappeared. And even the assists, there was no clips of Kendry Paez, not that many clips of Kendry Paez over the past 8 to 12 months. I'd say, let's say 6 to 12 months, if that's the time frame that can be given. But he's joined Chelsea Football Club, much like the Estevan Willian, the transfer that we did. We purchased Kendry Paez a long time ago as well, nearly 2 years ago. He was only 16 years old. We got him at a very, very young age, and recently he joined Chelsea Football Club, went to Club World Cup with us. There was talks that he wasn't going to go to Club World Cup, that he was going to directly go to Strasbourg, but luckily enough, he ended up going to Club World Cup. I think initially the conversation was that he was going to go to Club World Cup and he was going to feature, but he didn't feature. But at least he got the vibe. He got the experience firsthand to be in amongst all the Chelsea first team players, which would have been fantastic for Kendry Paez. Now, let's have a quick look at some of these latest pictures, ladies and gentlemen, coming from Strasbourg. Kendry Paez, as you can see, lovely picture. It's a nice jersey, man. It's a nice jersey. This is with him, with Liam Rossignol. I think Rossignol is going to love someone like Kendry Paez a lot. And hopefully Paez gets to learn from Liam Rossignol. Liam Rossignol is turning out to be a gem of a young manager. I don't think he's going to stick around at Strasbourg for too much longer at the end of this season if he does well again with Strasbourg. Because don't forget, Strasbourg did fantastically well. They just missed out on Champions League, Europa League position by a whisker at the end. They are in the Conference League, however, and it'll be interesting to see how Strasbourg does in Europe. And I think it'll be fantastic experience for Kendry Paez as well. So learn as much as you can, my man, under Liam Rossignol, and let's see what happens, and see if you can, break into the Chelsea first team next season. But yeah, look, definitely going to be following Strasbourg and Kendry Paez's growth. Quite a number of players are actually at Strasbourg from Chelsea. Paez, Penders, Mamadou Sarr, all of these players we're going to have a look at. And Ishay Samuel-Smith, we've sold him to Strasbourg as well. So definitely huge interest for all Chelsea fans to keep a tab of Kendry Paez. So lovely pictures. Kendry Paez in training with Strasbourg, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see over here. Hopefully he turns out to be a monster. Really, that's what I'm hoping for, that he turns out to be a monster. Excuse me for that. But yeah, lovely pictures. All right, let's move on to the next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Fabrizio Romano, I'm not going to play the clip. Look, at the end of the day, clips about the same sort of news is quite boring. But the only difference in this clip was, ladies and gentlemen, he's been saying that Nicholas Jackson all along, looks like is potentially going to leave. But in this clip, ladies and gentlemen, Fabrizio Romano has come out and said, well, this is what Max is saying. Something clearly developing in Jackson with another club. It's now gone to is leaving. So Fabrizio Romano, all this time, he's been saying that look out for Nicholas Jackson. He could. Now all of a sudden he's saying is leaving. So look, as a lot of us have predicted this, I definitely predicted this, that with so much striker movements that's happening in this transfer window, and it looks like Sesko is going to Man United, mud on Newcastle are going to be strikerless. It could be a huge possibility that Newcastle come for Nicholas Jackson. Maybe the conversation's already started, and we know the conversation definitely started because the rumor about Newcastle wanting Nicholas Jackson started about a week ago anyway. So we shall see. But Fabrizio Romano is adamant that he is now leaving as opposed to he could leave. So Fabrizio Romano doesn't say these sort of words unless and until the agent of Nicholas Jackson definitely would have given some indication to Fabrizio Romano that this move is definitely happening. As I've said many a times this transfer window, that I'll be shocked if Nicholas Jackson sticks around at Chelsea Football Club, considering there's João Pedro, considering there's Liam Delap, and potentially we could end up using other players if need be up front, if there's any, touch wood, any injuries or anything like that. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, Garnacho. Who wants Garnacho from Chelsea Football Club? Well, we now have a confirmation. As to which individual is honing in on Garnacho, badly wants Garnacho at Chelsea Football Club, and it looks like it is going to happen. And Fabrizio Romano is another individual on a regular basis keeps saying, oh, but don't forget about Garnacho. I've been talking about it, but don't forget about Garnacho, mate. How can we forget about Garnacho? You literally tweet, post about him every other hour. So at least give us a chance to forget so that you can remind us. We can't forget if you keep posting every other hour. But at Chelsea Football Club, ladies and gentlemen, who's the one that is forcing this conversation in regards to Garnacho? Well, we've got this confirmation. Once again, I'm not going to play the clip. You can check it out on Max's profile. Excuse me. Now confirmed on TalkSport, was sent this clip now from a couple of days ago. Winston Lee, the driving factor behind move for Garnacho. Look, I'm not really sure what Paul Winstonley sees in Garnacho, but I hope Paul Winstonley is accountable for these sort of transfers as well. There's a couple of transfers that specifically came from his recommendation, and I don't know if they've completely worked out. Garnacho is another one, and we shall see. We shall see if this works out. Look, it's inevitable. He's going to happen. I'm just worried about him as an individual and the ego that this kid has, ego that is not even warranted. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't even match up with the lack of talent that Garnacho has. But Paul Winstonley is the one that believes in Garnacho. So let's see, and I hope that ultimately Paul Winstonley, should be accountable, man. If this doesn't work out, I think he's got a lot to answer. Now, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea will offer a new deal to Marc Cucurella as talks will advance soon. The player is happy at Chelsea and the club is very happy with Marc. So fantastic. This news has been floating around for a couple of weeks now. Can't wait to see Marc Cucurella get his new contract. And we've said it, Cucurella's got 2 more seasons left. After this season, at the end of this season, I think he'll only have 1 more season left. Yeah, because he came in Thomas Tuchel's season, then he was there for Pochettino's season, and then last season under Enzo Maresca. So he's been here 3 seasons. So he's probably only got 2 more seasons left. And at the end of the season, he's only got 1 more season. So they are looking to, correct me if I'm wrong, he could potentially have 3 more seasons left. But bottom line, there needs to be a contract negotiation that needs to happen. Very important player for Enzo Maresca as well. And he's capable of playing in multiple positions. So this will be the very first time under this new ownership that someone's contract is up for renewal. And what do we do, especially when the player is nearing 30 years old? I think Cucurella just turned 28 this season, this year. Next year, he'll be 29. So he's getting closer and closer to that 30 years old mark. And we know our policy. We don't buy players of that age. We try and buy less than 25, generally with low wages. What are we going to do when players are coming to the end of their contract and we are looking to renew, but they're also coming closer to that 30-year-old mark? Plus, Cucurella's wages are already high. More than 150,000, which is the capping that we have right now. How much are we going to offer in the new contract? And what type of new contract we're going to offer? This will be very interesting to see because this will be the first of its kind under this new ownership. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, Marc Cucurella 100% deserves the new contract and he's too important of a player to let go of. Yes, we've got Jorel Hato and he's going to slowly but surely adapt and eventually one day take over for Marc Cucurella. But right now, Marc Cucurella way too important for us. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything we spoke about. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya.